This is an end-to-end demonstration of how to set up the dialog system for Unity with Inkle's ink integration. We're starting with an empty project. First, import Ink for Unity from the Package Manager window. We can test a basic story to confirm that Ink for Unity is working. Then import the dialog system. Once the dialog system is imported, import the Ink support package from the dialog system's third-party support folder. We're starting with an empty scene. Add the Dialog Manager prefab to it. Next, create a dialog database. The Dialog Manager always needs a dialog database, but we don't need much in it because our content will come from Ink. Create an NPC character. And we'll create a quest named The Wager for later. Now add the Dialog System Ink Integration component. The Dialog System's Ink integration works differently from all other authoring software integrations. Other integrations import content into a dialog database. With Ink, on the other hand, the integration hands off processing of Ink stories to Ink for Unity. The dialog system primarily acts as a front end and means of triggering activities such as conversations and barks. Now assign your Ink JSON files. You can mouse over the other fields for tooltip info on them. Finally, we'll set up some components to test the conversation. Add a usable component so that we can use the dialog system's selector system, and add a dialog system ink trigger. Select Add Action, Start Conversation. Unlike the regular dialog system trigger, the dialog system ink trigger includes a special section for selecting ink stories. Now we'll create an empty player game object with a selector so that we can interact with this capsule and start the conversation. We'll set it to select usables using the mouse position. And let's give this a try. Well, it looks like we need to adjust the distance tolerances for the usable and selector. We'll just set them to 9999 to make it easy. And here's our Ink story. You may notice that the lines are being spoken by NPC even for the player. This is because Ink doesn't really make a distinction between different characters. It's more of a story flow. However, the dialog system's integration has solutions for that. Before we get to that though, a quick note about trying to start Ink conversations on the same frame that the Dialog Manager's Ink integration starts. The Ink integration sets up the Ink stories in its start method. So if you set a dialog system Ink trigger to onStart, there could be a race condition between the two. One solution is to use a timed event component to wait one frame to allow the integration to set up. So here I'll add a timed event component, set mode to frames, and the number of frames to 1. Then we'll assign the dialog system ink trigger. We'll set the trigger back to onUse, and in the onTimeReached event, we'll call that onUse method. And now let's test this to make sure that the conversation starts as soon as the scene starts. If you have a hierarchy of subfolders for your ink stories, some of which might have the same names but be in different folders, the integration has a solution for that. Select Edit Project Settings and add ink_full paths to scripting defined symbols. Now when you select stories, you'll be able to select the full path to the story rather than just its name. And now we can get back to specifying which actor speaks each line. There are two ways to do this in the integration. The first is to add a hashtag actor equals and then the name of the actor. In this case, the first line will be spoken by the player actor. This means that back in Unity, we need to specify to the dialog system that it should show player lines also as subtitles. Now if we give that a play, we see that that line is spoken by the player. The other way to specify which actor is speaking is to simply put the actor's name in front of the line, followed by a colon. However, to support this option, you must inspect the dialog system ink integration and tick Actor Names Precede Lines. And we'll check this out and confirm it works too. The dialog system's ink integration provides several external functions that you can use in your ink stories. They're documented on the online manual page. To enable them, you just copy and paste this text into your story. Here we'll use two of those external functions to set that quest that we created early on active and to show an alert message. We'll allow alerts to appear during conversations, and let's give this a test. The integration has a set of Lua functions that you can use to dig into your ink stories, such as getting and setting the values of ink variables. These are also documented on the online manual page. You can also use dialog system ink triggers to bark one-off lines of dialogue from ink stories. And you can mix and match dialog system conversations and ink conversations. And that's it for the ink integration. If you have any questions about using ink with the dialog system, feel free to pop them into the forum. Thanks for watching.